Yeah. Uh-oh. Forgot to switch my camera setting here. Oh, there we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mild's Culture Plate. I'm your host, Mild Kevin Miles. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages. And yes, it's that time. It's that time. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm in the middle of eating cheese, and I've got to finish this. I'm sorry. I'm not. If I'm gonna sit here for 3 hours, and try to entertain, I've got to have a little bit of a snack. So bear with me. Okay, speaking of snacks, we got a story for you. We're going to start off with this. Uh-oh, what did I do here? Okay. We're going to start off with this. We've got a story about snacks and a lawsuit happening here that I found a little interesting. This is from the Associated Press. And we've got an interesting show for you tonight. I'll pause here in a little bit with a couple of show notes. But take a look at this. We've got the maker of Oreos, Mondelez, suing Aldi, saying that the packaging has been copied to confuse its customers. Now, you can see these images here. I think that's a fucking stretch. I mean, the colors are similar. But that's what happens when you have a generic knockoff. I mean, that's the point. It's a generic knockoff. Most people of an age to make purchasing decisions know what a generic knockoff is supposed to be. It's not meant to confuse. It's meant to be like, hey, this is a different thing that's kind of like the thing. So yeah, nobody's fooled by this shit except for children. And children don't give a shit. Unless what they're trying to say is its customers, its primary customers, are going to be the confused kids. So let's go ahead and read the article here. Snack food maker Mondelez International suing the Aldi supermarket chain. I said Superman. Look at me. Look at me. Wearing my Superman shirt. Or wait, I'm not wearing my Superman shirt. I almost wore it. But yeah, I got new Superman comics. Anyway, I'm talking about Superman. Go figure. I got a new Superman shirt though. I wore it. What was that? On my first stream back, was that Tuesday night? Anyway, suing the Aldi supermarket chain, alleging the package for its Aldi's store brand cookies and crackers are blatantly copies of Mondelez products like Chips Ahoy, Wheat Thins, and Oreos. In a federal lawsuit filed Tuesday in Illinois, Chicago-based Mondelez said Aldi's packaging was likely to deceive and confuse customers and threatened to irreparably harm Mondelez and its brands. The company is seeking monetary damages and a court order that would stop Aldi from selling products that infringe on its trademarks. Aldi didn't respond to messages seeking to comment. The U.S. branch of Aldi's, which is based in Batava, Illinois, was named in the lawsuit. And we've got Sangland86 in the chat over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome. And you have Shut Up I Can Cook saying, hi, white man. Or hi, hoot man. Hoot man. Hoot man says hello and cheers back. Come on in. Anyone else out there in the chat, come on in, say hello. Let me know you're out there. And she says she's at war with American white women destroying the nation. And says bye. Okay, well, fuck you then. All right. If you're leaving at the beginning of the show, I give you a fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. I love having you by. Thank you for the moment you spent here if you are leaving. I'm in an ornery mood today. I can't help it. In the lawsuit, Mondelez displayed side-by-side photos of multiple products. Aldi's thin wheat crackers, for example, come in a gold box very similar to Mondelez's Wheat Thins. Aldi's chocolate sandwich cookies and Oreos both have blue packaging. The supermarket's golden round crackers and Mondelez's rich crackers are packaged in red boxes. Okay, fuck you, AP. Hey, Cookie says Sanglant is J. Cyrene Pickle. Cheers and welcome. Good seeing you. Hope you're having a good time over there on Rumble. And Cookie calls me a hoe, even though I stopped having sex with the cop's wife like over a year ago, she still calls me a hoe. Rusty Rivers is here for some spice. Well, hopefully I can. Hopefully there might be a little bit later. Cheers and welcome. But yeah, man, it's the cupboard is bare when it comes to some news stories. I did manage to snag a few there at the end, right before the show went live. So yeah, hopefully there's some spicy stuff. But for now, it's going to be a lot of legalese and legal BS to some degree. So cheers and welcome, welcome. All right. Aldi, founded in Germany, keeps prices low by primarily selling products under its own labels. One of the fastest grocery chains, blah, 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 blah. The chain has faced lawsuits over packaging before. An Australian court found that Aldi infringed on the copyright of Baby Belly snack puffs for young children. In that case, Aldi's packaging featured a cartoon owl and similar colors to the name brand packaging. Earlier this year, UK appeals court ruled in favor of Thatcher's, a cider company which sued Aldi over similar designs to its lemon cider. Mondelez said in its lawsuit that the company had contacted Aldi on numerous occasions about confusingly similar packaging. Mondelez said Aldi discontinued or changed the packaging on some items but continued to sell others. The lawsuit also alleges that Mondelez has trade dress rights for the packaging of Nutter Butter and Nilla wafers, its premium cracker brand. So there you go. I mean, aren't knockoffs allowed to look similar to some degree? I mean, isn't that why they call it a knockoff? Imitation is flattery. Has anyone ever told you that, Nabisco? Okay, got a bunch of hellos and howdies in the chats. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the state of Missouri, my former home. Let's go to the state of Missouri. Because they have now decided to allow an abortion ban. The state Supreme Court on Tuesday in Missouri overturned a pair of lower court rulings that had blocked the state's strict abortion ban, once again putting the ban in place. The state's high court ordered a circuit court judge to vacate her injunctions against the abortion ban, saying the judge applied the wrong standards. The state Supreme Court said one of its prior rulings had established a, quote, more rigorous standard when blocking a state law. But state Supreme Court also ordered Circuit Judge Jerry Zhang to reevaluate her rulings, quote, in light of this standard, raising the possibility that Zhang could reissue injunctions on a different legal basis. The underlying lawsuit challenging the law has yet to go to trial. For now, Missouri's abortion ban, which kicked in when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, will once again take effect. Missouri voters in November passed a ballot measure to ensure abortion rights by amending the state constitution to guarantee a reproductive right of freedom until fetal viability, generally considered to be around 24 weeks of pregnancy. That prompted the state's Planned Parenthood organizations to file a lawsuit seeking to strike down the abortion ban, which led to Zhang's rulings. In December, Zhang ruled the abortion ban violated the Constitution, but left in place some licensing requirements that prevented many abortions from resuming. Then in February, she ruled the license requirements were discriminatory, enabling Planned Parenthood to resume. The Attorney General challenged those rulings, leading to Tuesday's Supreme Court decision. Republican lawmakers have also approved a new ballot measure either in November 2026 or possibly sooner if special election is held, that would seek to repeal the amendment guaranteeing abortion rights, which voters approved by 3 percentage points last November. So there you have it. There you have it. Baby killing in Missouri. Legalese bullshit. Look, I generally, in this situation, I'm going to say, look, you kind of got to side with the voters, right? You kind of got to let the shit happen. I do appreciate that they found a way to kind of push the previous constitutional ruling in the meantime, and they're waiting for this, legal challenge to make its way through the courts, and that they were actually able to, get this injunction to keep the ban in place for now. Oh, gotta love what Cookie and Rusty are doing in the chat. Oh shit. But yeah, you kind of got to listen to the voters, and we'll see what it is long term. We'll see which constitutional amendment decides to rule the day in the end. All right. Okay, let's keep motoring through this news. So we've been covering a lot the situation between RFK Jr. and the CDC and all these states and all of these bans of fluoride in public water. And we knew it was only a matter of time before the mainstream media weighed in. You'll have to pardon me for just a moment. Let me. Okay, sorry about that, folks. The weather changes in Kansas have really been doing a number on my sinuses. Okay, so it was only a matter of time before the mainstream media would weigh in, trying to sway the public opinion, and of course, here we go. Kids' cavities would increase by millions if every state banned fluoride, a study finds. Florida and Utah have already removed fluoridation from public water systems. What if the rest of the country follows? Oh no. NBC, come on now. Come on now. This story brought to you by Erica Edwards. The long-term effects of banning fluoride from public drinking water could cost families billions of dollars and result in millions of rotten teeth. The study published Friday in JAMA Health Forum. Okay, let's just go ahead and open that up. Oh, here we go. What are the projected outcomes of ceasing to fluoridate public water rates on tooth decay on the cost of dental care among children in the U.S.? Findings: the cost effectiveness analysis using data for 8,484 children, mean age 9.6 years, from the U.S. National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey from 2013 to 2016 found that elimination of fluoride would be associated with an increase of tooth decay of 7.5 percentage points and cost approximately $9.8 billion over 5 years. That's assuming that no other behaviors change, right? Still Not Banned here says, "Are you sick again?" I feel like I am. I really do. I feel like I am. Sangal says, "Just a reminder, fluoride taken internally has never been found to help teeth." Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. So this is their data, and that's assuming no other life changes are made. So that's one thing I'm gonna. Okay, so the meaning: cessation of fluoridation in U.S. public water systems is projected to worsen oral health in children and significantly increase national health care costs. Okay, so let's go back to NBC. A decayed tooth in 1 out of every 3 children. U.S. could be expected to develop 25.4 million more cavities within the next 5 years. Oh my God, the world's going to end. Cavities. Number of cavities would more than double in 10 years. 10 years. What would we ever do? This is a tremendous increase, said Dr. Tom Reed, president of the Wisconsin Dental Association. Oh no. President of the Wisconsin Dental Association. He definitely doesn't have a conflict of interest here. It's another bit of proof that what we've been saying for over 80 years is 100% accurate. Proper dosing of community water fluoridation prevents cavities. Reed was not involved with the new research. Bullshit. Not that he wasn't involved, but community water fluoridation prevents cavities. No, children having their teeth exposed to fluoride prevents cavities. Forcing it on people through their water system does not. Oh my Lord. Still not banned here says I sound sick. She has a migraine creeping in. Weather BS, DEWs, and their loud noise triggers BS. Yep. I'm pretty sure I keep getting sick from exposure to my coworkers, but we're not gonna blame them. Let's see. 2 states, Utah and Florida, have already banned the addition of fluoride. Others, including Kentucky, Massachusetts, and Nebraska, could follow, all buoyed by our RFK Jr.'s new role. Under Kennedy's leadership, HHS gutted the CDC's prevented oral health division, which provides funds to states and local jurisdictions to promote good dental health and practices, including the use of fluoride. We thought this was a really important time to be able to put some numbers to the discussions about fluoride, said Dr. Leeson Simon, an author of a study, an internal medicine physician, an author of the study, an internal medicine physician at Massachusetts General Brigham in Boston. So I'm going to stop right there. What? Cookie says, show mine. Show your what? Your teeth? I don't have your teeth. So I'm going to stop right there and say, yeah, the author of the study said, oh, this is a really important time to put some numbers to the discussions. So that already starts smelling like bullshit to me. 2 states ban fluoride and a bunch of others start talking about it, and all of a sudden, including your state, Boston, Massachusetts. See, let's look right here. Massachusetts here, Boston here. Oh, you thought it was a really important time to put some numbers to discussions about fluoride. Yeah, I bet. She and a colleague analyzed data on 8,484 children from birth through age 19. National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. NHANES is conducted every year by the CDC and includes interviews about what people eat and extensive details about their blood work, doctor exams, and dental visits. The team created a model to predict what could happen under 2 scenarios: if every public water system had optimal fluoride levels and if there's a total national ban. Again, this assumes no behavioral change. This assumes that these children just will never brush their teeth. This assumes the children will never use mouthwash and never be exposed to any fluoride whatsoever. This also assumes that these children are drinking the fucking tap water. Most people nowadays are drinking filtered water, whether bottled water or whether like jugs of water or fucking cardboard. They are not, most people do not fucking drink tap water unless you're in the fucking hood. Let's be honest. And even then, you're probably drinking fucking soda pop. You're not getting the goddamn, yeah, your Kool-Aid. You're getting fluoride in your Kool-Aid. But you're not getting it in your orange juice or your soda pop. Jesus fuck. Again, this right there, total removal and the effect of optimal fluoride in water systems. It, one, assumes that the kids couldn't get fluoride from other sources, and number 2, it assumes that these kids are only getting their water from the tap. Filling those cavities to fix that level of decay would cost money. $9.8 billion within 5 years, $19.4 billion within a decade. But you know it doesn't cost money? Dumping industrial waste in your goddamn water supply. That doesn't cost money. That saves us money, right? It's a conservative estimate, Simon said, because it doesn't take into account related issues, like whether a child has to go into general anesthesia, the lifetime cost of replacing fillings and implants, or if parents have to miss work to take the children to the emergency room because of toothaches. Tooth decay goes beyond a simple, okay, so now you're going to preach to us about everything that could possibly fucking go wrong with teeth. And you will never admit that maybe the kids aren't drinking the fucking, yes, Rusty Rivers, isn't the toothpaste filled with fluoride? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Still Not Banned Here says, yeah, how about parents supervise? Exactly. Look, this is the fucking problem with NBC, and this is the problem with liberalism as a whole. Let me bring this down for just a minute, because yeah, I said this probably isn't going to get that spicy, but this pisses me off. That we can't trust parents to understand the ramifications for their kids of changing laws in their state. We can't trust fucking parents to take 2 goddamn seconds and understand what their dentist might say to them or what their doctor might say to them. And oh my God. The median age was 9, right? Aren't kids still losing fucking teeth at age 6? Like, if they get a cavity and then they lose the fucking tooth and another one grows in, why do I give a shit? I mean, granted, you don't want it to get infected. Cookie says, buy Mild and Trailer Park divorced Rusty. Now, don't be hating on people for getting a divorce, Cookie. I don't know if Rusty's divorced or not, but that's not a fucking nice thing to do. You're a better lady than that. Cheers, though. So yeah, it assumes, as most liberals do, that the general populace of parents are just too retarded. Too retarded to make their children brush their teeth. Too retarded to give their children fluoride treatments if need be. So we got to jam it into the tap water because they're too stupid to avoid the tap water. So we'll put it in. We'll dump it in there with the rest of the toxic waste and the hormone drugs and everything else that gets dumped in our water supply. The atrazine turning the frickin' frogs gay. Rusty says I probably deserve it. Oh, Still Not Banned Here says, I was just reading comments from people who had their wisdom teeth pulled out unnecessarily too, just for cash, of course, like tonsils used to be. Yeah, I still have my tonsils and I have like crumbled wisdom teeth that have not been pulled. So it is what it is. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the real world impact. Canadian city of Calgary, for example, experienced a significant rise in cavities after its leaders removed fluoride from public water systems in 2011. Within a decade, they voted to reinstate fluoridation. I'd hate to see us not learn from history, Reed said. It doesn't take immense intellectual ability to realize that, boy, there are communities that have done this and regret their decisions. The people are retarded. The U.S. has been adding fluoride to drinking water for decades. The CDC, as well as doctors and dentists, heralds the mineral as one of the greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. Fluoride has been demonized, particularly among conservative groups who maintain that it's a toxin, At best, is causing tooth discoloration and is at worst, driving down kids' intelligence. Kennedy frequently cites a study published in 2019 that suggested IQ levels were slightly lower in kids whose mothers had higher measures of fluoride in their urine during pregnancy. The JAMA studies also included in the MAHA report recently released. And then they make some judgments here about it being far from conclusive, which, no, it was conclusive. Similar studies in other countries with much higher levels. Okay, but it doesn't say. No studies in the U.S. have flagged any measurable decreases in children's cognitive development since fluoride was introduced, allegedly. The new analysis didn't include possible cognitive effects, good or bad, of a total ban on fluoride because the current levels in fluoride are, quote, not definitively associated with worse neurobehavioral outcomes. Just look at our society. What do you mean, no worse neurobehavioral outcomes? Half of our fucking society are on some sort of brain meds of some sort. All right, let's get into some of the Trump stuff. Why don't we? You ready for the Trump stuff? We've got a good number of Trump-related news here. Most of it about lawsuits, because, of course, so much of what's going on with Trump has to wind up in a courtroom somewhere. Yes, still not banned here. Of course, there's no studies in support of a mental benefit of fluoride. Oh, of no fluoride. Yeah. Cookie wants me to move on. She doesn't like the idea of talking about the fluoride problem. So let's get on. So recently you had NPR suing Trump over funding. So, of course, I would have to go to NPR to talk about PBS and Minnesota Public TV now suing Donald Trump and the White House. PBS and a public television station in rural Minnesota filed a suit on Friday against Trump over his executive order demanding that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting kill all funding to the network. The suit alleges Trump's order is unlawful, exceeding his authority as president and violating constitutional protections of free speech because he's made clear he doesn't like PBS's news coverage and programming. Quote, this action challenges an unprecedented presidential directive attacking PBS and its member stations in a manner that will upend public television, the lawsuit states. The executive order makes no attempt to hide the fact that it's cutting off the flow of PBS because of the content PBS programming and out of a desire to alter the content of speech. That's blatant viewpoint discrimination and an infringement of PBS and PBS member stations' private editorial discretion. PBS President and CEO Paula Kerger declined comment. Nobody's saying that you can't speak. Fund your fucking selves. They're saying you don't get government funding to discriminate. You're saying the government is blatant viewpoint discriminating against you. When literally, like, this is the arm of the government funding a viewpoint discrimination. Member stations' private editorial discretion. You want private editorial discretion? Then just be a private organization. Run as a nonprofit. Rusty Rivers says, remember when they claimed they didn't get federal funding? Yes. Yes. Amazing. Amazing. All right. In a statement, the network said, after careful deliberation, PBS reached the conclusion that it was necessary to take legal action to safeguard public television's editorial independence and to protect the autonomy of PBS member stations. The Minnesota station echoed PBS's logic, saying it joined the lawsuit, quote, to underscore the dire consequences on local member stations and our programming. In response, the White House said the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is, quote, creating media to support a particular party on the taxpayer's dime. Yes, that's viewpoint discrimination. You want to make PBS, you want to hire some right wingers, make a sister station in all of these cities? Therefore, the president is exercising his lawful authority to limit funding to NPR and PBS, White House spokesperson Harrison Fields said in a statement. He will continue to, our president was elected with a mandate to ensure efficient use of taxpayer dollars, and he will continue to use his lawful authority to achieve that objective. The order accuses NPR and PBS of failing to provide a fair, accurate, unbiased, and nonpartisan news. He asserts that there are plenty of media options for people to choose from nowadays. Government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence, the order states. It bans CPB from sending any money to PBS and NPR and bars local stations from sending the networks federal money. But you know that they're going to get federal funds, and they're just going to rob Peter to pay Paul, right? They're going to use some of their other budget. We use that 15 million strictly on labor. Meanwhile, they took all the money they were going to spend on labor and sent it to fucking NPR. Social media platforms. Trump has blasted the networks in capital letters. Republicans must defund and totally disassociate themselves from NPR and PBS, the radical left monsters that so badly hurt our country. The two networks reject that characterization. Beyond that, the lawsuit filed by PBS and Minnesota affiliate Lakeland PBS argued, so basically, yeah, not an independent Minnesota organization. It's just fucking PBS. Regardless of any policy disagreements over the role of public television, our Constitution and laws forbid the president from serving as the arbiter of content of PBS's programming, including by attempting to defund PBS. Well, bullshit. Bullshit. The president gets to decide whether or not the Corporation for Public Broadcasting gets federal grant money. You want more government money? Ask the states. PBS's legal action follows parallel litigation filed on Tuesday by NPR and 3 Colorado public radio stations against Trump on the same grounds. Public Television Corp filings say PBS would lose $81 million a year in federal grants and a substantial portion of the $227 million the public TV stations pay in order to run its programs that range from children's programs to Ken Burns documentaries. A day after Trump issued his order, the U.S. Education Department canceled a grant to CPB and PBS that paid for a major educational initiative about $31 million annually. I have a question. Is this grant they're talking about here, is this the one that Trump was saying funded, what was it, Sesame Street or some shit? So yeah, 227 million plus 81 million. We're paying these people to brainwash our children and brainwash our liberals. Okay, Lakeland PBS serves northern and central Minnesota. includes tribal reservations and poorest counties. Oh no! What would the poor people watch on TV if not free indoctrination with no commercials? The station offers the only nightly television news program covering the region, offers curricular videos, lesson plans, and other resources for local educators. While PBS member stations receive, on average, about 15% of funding directly from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Lakeland PBS relies on federal grants from CPB for 37% of its annual revenues. It said all that money pays PBS for programming and other services that comes from those federal funds. So you need money from the federal government to give to PBS to give you programs that it wants to give out for free. Gotta love it. PBS shows make up more than half of Lakeland PBS's lineup. Lawsuit says Lakeland does not have enough unrestricted funds to simply shift other money over to pay for the cost of PBS programs. And it says the financial support from local companies is declining, not increasing. What the fuck? Locally based philanthropic money has been hard to come by. Imagine that. Imagine that. Your own fucking community doesn't want to pay for your shit. Lakeland PBS cannot readily or affordably replace such content and services, the lawsuit says. The executive order's indirect funding bar thus poses an existential threat to Lakeland PBS, the only source of television programming for hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans. Come again? What? Only local source of programming. Okay. So wait a minute. Rewind. I'm sorry. I thought all of this was about you giving PBS money for their stuff. That's not a local source. That's literally not a local source of programming. Like, that's the idea here. You stop paying PBS. You start hiring local people to put on shows. The suit was filed by Aiken Gump Strauss, a major Washington-based law firm. Okay, nice to see your local loyalty here, and then you get a Washington-based law firm instead of one from Minnesota. Good job. Trump's order issued on May 1st has been rejected by the board of the privately incorporated CPB, though which federal money allocated by Congress flows to public broadcasters, primarily local stations. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting has not adopted the president's decree. It is suing him over another executive order purporting to fire 3 of its 5 members. Like the NPR and PBS lawsuits, CPB's suit points to protections written into law by Congress safeguarding CPB and public broadcasters from political pressure applied by federal officials. They argue that this includes the president. And then, of course, they're going to get into Mike Johnson. Trump sending a formal request to Congress in June to rescind the $1.1 billion allocated for public broadcasting. That spending approved by the Republican-led Congress earlier this year and signed into law by Trump. It's unclear when the House and Senate will take up the measure, but Johnson mentioned its rescissions as a package, part of a focus on enacting more spending cuts and that he would act quickly. Congress would have 45 days to approve once received for it to take effect. Wow. Yes, Rusty Rivers, we cry about Russian-run state media while we do the same thing times 10. And can you believe the 1984 language here? Like, we need PBS, which aren't most PBS shows produced in Boston, like that WGBH or whatever? Aren't most PBS shows like Here, let's just Google this, or let's grok this shit. Where's X? I need to get on X and grok this shit. Where is the majority of PBS programming produced? Key production hubs in cities like Washington, D.C., Boston, New York, and Los Angeles. There you go. International partners, particularly in the UK. All right. So imagine saying you need this national news source or programming source because it's the only local source of television for hundreds and thousands of Minnesotans. Folks, if PBS is the only television station that you and hundreds of thousands of your neighbors can get on your antenna, you've got bigger issues than Corporation for Public Broadcasting funding. Rusty Rivers, Operation Mockingbird never ended. It was only ramped up. Yeah. And the language here is just brutal. This is pure propaganda. Why did I save this tweet? Hang on. Going to be shifting gears here in a second. Okay, yeah, we're getting into the Trump stuff. Let me do this. I didn't really find a good news story about the Elon Musk stuff from today. I guess Trump and Elon Musk had a 2.5-hour press conference. I don't know. But what most people are talking about in regards to the Elon Musk press conference. Wait, what? What is this, Cookie? Maxwell Anderson charged with killing a 19-year-old black girl on a first date. Let's type in Maxwell Anderson, see. Okay. Oh, it's on trial right now. Okay. Well, that'd be an interesting trial to follow. I'm currently, following the Karen Reed trial too hardcore to worry about that, but yeah, I'll look into it when they start reaching a verdict. I may try to cover it. But anyway, what most people are talking about with Elon Musk is that he's got a bruise on his face, right? By his eye. And some people are saying, there's this whole thing about raccoon eyes and child rape or something. There's some sort of conspiracy theory out there about that. But this isn't raccoon eyes. It's just a bruise. And he claims that it was given to him by his son. And here you have Jeremy of the Quartering saying he stopped by Amber Heard's. Cookie says, not okay, Mild. She was 19 years old. I mean, yeah. Of course. That's not okay. Murdering a 19-year-old. Look, let me be very clear. I am anti-murder of teenage girls. I'm very anti-murder of teenage girls. And hopefully this trial will result in justice for the just party if he did it. Cookie says, I never had any fear when meeting a stranger black dude. What? I'm sorry, what? Come again? So is that what you're on? Are you on that? Is this guy white? I'm assuming then. This shit. Is this the guy? Milwaukee. It's Wisconsin. Cookie, come on. You're sending me a murder trial from Wisconsin. Who's the judge? Who's the judge? I gotta know. I gotta know who the judge of this trial is. Now you're sending me down a rabbit hole. I've got to know who the judge of this trial is. Let's go back to this. He is white. Yeah, okay. Bunch of phone data, car data, human remains found. Neat little map. Waukesha-based criminal defense attorney. Doesn't say who the fucking judge is. Oh my God. Oh wait, here we go. Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Laura Crivello. So gonna Google that name real quick. Okay, here we go. What to know about Judge Laura Crivello? How old is she? 56. Appointed by Governor Walker. Presided over the trial of Stephanie Rapkin, a lawyer who was convicted of a misdemeanor for spitting on a black teenager. Yeah, dude, that dude's fucked. That dude is fucked. Yeah, she wanted a white guy and got chopped up. I mean, it's Wisconsin. That's what happens there. And no, it's not okay, but that's what happens there. I mean, do we need to list all the murders that have happened in Wisconsin? All the high profile, weird fucking killings? If she'd tried dating about 4 years earlier, maybe she and Chandler Halderson could have saved each other. But instead, Chandler Halderson had a psycho girlfriend who convinced him to chop up his parents. Anyway, sorry. Well, I guess she would have been a minor at that time, so maybe not. All right. Now that Cookie's sent me down that rabbit hole, let's move from Wisconsin over to Michigan. Because we like to talk about the Michigan governor every once in a while, especially when it involved Donald Trump. Now, you got to love the flip flopping Gretchen Whitmer has done on Donald Trump. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Black men do not chop us up mild. I mean, Cookie. Here we go. Hang on, hang on. Hey, Cookie. Manhattan stabbing victim used last words to name ex-boyfriend as killer. Shirley Rodriguez was bleeding on the sidewalk Monday morning outside the Washington Heights apartments where she lived with her family when she fingered Taekwon Jimot, 33, because Taekwon's such a white name, right? Rodriguez's mom, dad, and sisters rushed down the building at West 172nd Street and Haven Avenue, where they heard her screams and saw her blood. She turned to me and said, "It was Ty," said the 32-year-old sibling Tibby. She was standing in between the two cars. The wound I saw was her face. I think he stabbed her in the head, too. There was so much blood, it was everywhere, all over the steps, the cars. She was calling for help. She said, "Dad, Dad, Dad, hurry, come downstairs." I threw something on and went downstairs with a kitchen knife because obviously something was up. Ran down the stairs and it was a bloody scene, and my daughter was standing there with a big gash in her face. Good old Taekwon. Now, again, I don't care. I don't care about the race thing. But you're going to bring it into my chat like it never happens. I'm not making a claim that white dudes don't murder. I'm never going to claim that. But you come into my chat claiming the white dudes cut up black girls like it's some known fact. And that it never happens with black dudes. Come on now. Singlet says Beard gets around. Oh no. Hispanics. No, that, yeah, she may have been Hispanic, but okay, so I think she was, damn it. Reopen closed tab. Now I got to look up her father because you're saying he's Hispanic. Okay. Here you go, Cookie. Just for you. You send me down these damn rabbit holes. Where's the damn mute?
Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim has the story.
Really needed.
Okay, maybe she was Hispanic.
Struggle to make.
Yeah, she was Hispanic.
We're all struggling to comprehend.
Yep, you're right. You're right. She was Hispanic. Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying. I know I've seen, like, in New York. I know. In fact, let me just go to New York Post and go to Metro. Let's pan this out here. You're gonna have me going down this damn rabbit hole. Bystanders, wait. 15-year-old girl plunged into the East River following her phone. She jumped after her phone? Okay. Okay, we're just going to search New York Post for brutal murder. Boyfriend. Boom. Let's see what happens here. Okay. They keep it out of the news apparently. Yeah. Cookie, you might have something here. It's only interracial relationships where people murder each other, apparently. white victim, black perpetrator, white victim, Hispanic perpetrator, black victim, Hispanic perpetrator, Hispanic victim, black perpetrator. What the fuck? This is insane. It's all interracial. All over the news. Wait, what is this? Killed trying to protect pregnant mom. Okay, wait, what is this? Here we go. I think I found something. The woman wasn't murdered, her son was, but he was murdered trying to protect pregnant mom from knife-wielding ex-boyfriend released from prison a day earlier. So this young black kid in Chicago was trying to protect his mom, clearly not a Hispanic. From this dude, arrested for killing the 11-year-old and attempting to kill his mother. So he wasn't successful, but he tried. He tried to chop her up. Was captured on video fleeing from the home and tossing a silver item, later to be found to be a bloody knife. So you almost had me, Cookie, but I knew I could find one. Most Rusty River says most serial unalivers are white. Yes, the serial ones, yes. There's this claim that gets frequently made that mass murderers are white. That's not true. Because, you have gang violence and drive-bys and stuff like that tend to hit multiple targets. And lately, school shooters have been more of a diverse crowd. So, let's get back to the Trump stuff. I was going to get into Gretchen Whitmer. Where did I go with that? Here we go. Boom. From the AP, Governor Gretchen Whitmer says Trump told her he would not pardon the men convicted in the kidnapping plot. Fucking. Gretchen Whitmer says Donald Trump would be going back on his word to her if he pardoned two men who are serving prison sentences for leading a 2020 plot to kidnap her. Whitmer, a Democrat, told Michigan Public Radio on Thursday that Trump asked her about a month ago how she would feel if he pardoned the two men. I said, I think it would be the wrong decision, Whitmer recounted. I would oppose it, and he said, okay, I'll drop it. Whitmer, a possible presidential candidate, recounted the conversation one day after Trump said he was considering a pardon for the men, saying, I will take a look at it. It has been brought to my attention. The Republican president said he followed the men's trial and, quote, it looked to me like somewhat of a railroad job. He said the men, quote, were drinking, and I think they said stupid things. Justice Department's new pardon attorney also said this month he'd take a hard look at pardoning Barry Croft Jr. and Adam Fox. Let's look into that. Oh, okay. It's the same two guys. Yeah. Croft and Fox were portrayed as leaders of the kidnapping scheme. They were convicted of conspiracy in federal court in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 2022. Croft, a trucker from Delaware, was also found guilty of a weapons charge. Croft was sentenced to nearly 20 years in prison, while Fox, a Grand Rapids man, got a 16-year term. They're being held at a prison in Colorado, the most secure in the federal system. Whitmer later told an audience following a speech at Detroit Regional Chamber Mackinac Policy Conference that she plans to talk to Trump again about the pardoning matter. We have an ongoing dialogue now, very different from the first term, she said about Trump, and turned to smile at the audience. A spokesperson at the White House cannot confirm or deny upcoming actions. The White House does not comment on the president's private meetings, and any speculations about future pardons is speculation, Principal Deputy Press Secretary Harrison Field said in a statement. Whitmer and Trump clashed publicly during his first term, with Trump referring to her as that woman from Michigan. She's blamed Trump for political anger that motivated the plot that kidnapped her right before the 2020 election. Whitmer also hinted Thursday at anger over the possibility of pardons, saying she was disappointed to hear the news he was considering it. No one should hesitate to condemn political violence, she said. noting the arson attack on Governor Shapiro's residence and the assassination attempt on Trump last year. Whitmer's faced scrutiny from some Democrats for taking a collaborative approach to the Trump administration in his second term. Oh, Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, a Democrat who has criticized Whitmer for working with and appearing with Trump, said releasing the convicted men is no laughing matter. The reward you get for cozying up to Trump is him threatening to pardon the terrorists who plotted to kidnap and murder you, she said on social media. Oh, bullshit. Anyone who's taken a glance at this case knows it's a Fed-napping plot. That this was pure, unadulterated entrapment of these two men. And once again, I want to give a big shout out, as I always do whenever this topic comes up. Let me go ahead and... What the hell just happened? Hang on. I'm going to throw this link in the chat for more information. If you want to do a deeper dive on the Fed napping, follow this link. Check out her stuff. She's got plenty of stuff about the Fed napping, and she's helping put out a documentary on it. Compiling. And the government has went after her for that, by the way. The government has went after her. So please follow Radix Ferrum. All right. For more information on the Fed napping. All right. Now let's get into immigration stuff. Boom. So once again, we have MSNBC. As we touched on earlier with the propaganda surrounding fluoride, one of the things we've discussed before are the Supreme Court rulings of Donald Trump and whether or not the Rusty Riff said she might get Clinton cited. Yes, definitely. You have to watch out for our fellow live streamers when they're doing dangerous work, and she has. But anyway, as I was saying, we've touched on some of the separation of powers issues with the federal government and why even the Supreme Court can't just demand the Trump administration do what they say. And here's, MSNBC doing an analysis. You see this word over here on the left, analysis? Doing an analysis on the separation of powers issues and says, yeah, courts can't stop the Trump administration if it ignores them. Lesser known immigration case highlights the administration's willful erosion of due process and its beliefs that Americans will cheer them on. So this is by Lisa Rubin, MSN legal correspondent, specifically for the Rachel Maddow Show and Alex Wagner Tonight. You're a diligent observer of federal challenges to Trump administration policies. You know the administration is losing more than it's winning. Really? We've got some news stories here. Of course, this was 2 days ago, so depending on what your count was, here let me jump over there and see what their count is. Okay. Stopped some actions in 128 cases. That doesn't mean he's losing them. You fucking liars. God damn it. MSNBC. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't broadcasting that on the screen. Here, look. Bloomberg, right? And of course they give me their fucking spam down here. Bloomberg. 300 out of 328 lawsuits. There have been 200 orders in 128 cases. Yeah, 200 orders stopping administration actions in 128 cases. But this does not say how many of those were overturned by appeals courts. This doesn't say how many of these were partial stoppages or saying, hey, you could do this a different way. Out of 328 lawsuits, 200 orders, and then go ahead in 43 cases and haven't ruled in 140 others. As far as I'm concerned, that's 183 where they still have the fucking go ahead. 128 cases where they don't have the go ahead and 183 where they do. So I don't know how you don't know he's winning. Bloomberg and MSNBC. Cookie says stop cussing. I mean, I try not to. I try to tame it. Cookie says black women kidnapped and murdered are invisible. Well, that's because to a lot of people, yeah, some folks have viewed black women as less valuable. That's probably why they're picked as victims by those kind of people. They think they might be able to get away with it. Oh, Cookie has left. All right, well, I don't need to continue to address her in the chat then. All right, those victories conceal a growing cancer on the rule of law, the overseeming ease which government lawyers and officials under legal and ethical obligations adhere to and execute on court orders instead of flouting them. Not just referring to the two best-known examples, the litigation over the Trump administration's deporting hundreds of Venezuelan men to El Salvador, where they're now imprisoned under the Alien Enemies Act, and the continued fight over the government's effort to facilitate the release and return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, where the government's gamesmanship and seeming circumvention of court orders have led District Judge Boasberg and Paula Zenas, respectively, to entertain contempt findings. Instead, she's thinking of a case that isn't yet part of the national discourse, but should be. Nearly 2 months ago, another judge, Brian Murphy, first forbid immigration authorities from sending any immigrant with a final deportation order to a country not listed in that order, unless and until two things happen. The immigrant must be told they're going to be deported to a new country before being taken to such a country, and be given an opportunity to explain why such a deportation will likely result in their persecution, torture, and or death. Sounds simple enough, yet while Murphy extended his initial temporary order into a long-term injunction, he's been forced to reiterate its scope not once but 3 times. Plaintiffs' counsel caught wind that 4 immigrants were being sent to Guantanamo Bay and then deported to third countries without notice and opportunity to be heard, and ordered by Murphy and the DHS. Told the court it did not direct these removals by the Defense Department. DHS personnel were not involved, and in any event, DOD was not a defendant to the suit. So what's the issue? And also, Guantanamo Bay may be on an island ran by another country, but Guantanamo Bay is U.S. territory. Plaintiffs in this case are a group of immigrants who've been sent or could be sent to other countries other than those listed on their final removal orders or otherwise identified in writing in their cases. Removals from Guantanamo Bay to third countries have been executed by the DoD without the Department of Homeland Security's direction or knowledge. Once DHS takes custody of an immigrant, it may not cede custody or control in any manner that prevents that immigrant from receiving due process guarantees outlined in the prior order. Okay, so they're trying workarounds. And you're saying, no, the workarounds still do it. Last week, the plaintiff's lawyers returned to court with lawyers for two individual immigrants, neither of whom are Sudanese, had learned their clients would be deported to South Sudan within hours. By the time Murphy held a hearing the next day, the flight already landed in Djibouti. Murphy told the government that providing but less than 24 hours notice and 0 business hour notice, it had violated his orders. Murphy ordered last night and has since refused to reconsider or pause his order that whether back in the States or in Djibouti, the administration must provide each immigrant with a credible fear interview with all the hallmarks of meaningful due process and access to counsel and translation service. But as of Monday night, counsel had not received phone access to their clients. The Justice Department has now begged the Supreme Court to block Murphy's orders, which it describes as wreaking havoc with the administration's efforts to send undocumented immigrants who have committed heinous crimes to third countries that have agreed to accept them. The administration's retelling Murphy's alleged usurpation with executive authority and not their own non-compliance with court orders. Well, yes, because that's what's going on. Your court orders are a usurpation of executive authority. Let's see. An ex-post by White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, quote, tweeting a White House thread on the 8 men originally believed to have been on the South Sudan flight that they'll, quote, continue to deport these monsters to keep America safe. A promise that the White House believes will assuage MAGA moms and others in Trump's base. Of course, it's a supposed trade-off between due process and safety is a false one. An America in which the executive branch dodges and disobeys court orders may give some the illusion of security, but it's not safe for any of us. Then why were they here? Why were they here? Should have enforced the law to begin with. But it was okay when your president was skirting the law. It was okay when the guy you voted for was doing it. Other immigration news. WTOP News Maryland. Homeland Security labels Maryland and several of its counties and cities sanctuary jurisdictions. Maryland governments were among 500 jurisdictions nationwide, including states and local governments, labeled sanctuary jurisdictions by the DHS in response to an April 28th executive order by Donald Trump. Sanctuary jurisdiction come in many forms, but they're generally governments with policies that limit the ability of local authorities to cooperate with federal immigration. Supporters say the policies make local communities safer by increasing immigrant trust in local police and making them more willing to work with police. But Trump, in his executive order, said sanctuary policies violate, obstruct, and defy the enforcement of federal immigration laws, quote, in a lawless insurrection of the supremacy of federal law. The order directs the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security to contact the jurisdictions on the list, and it further requires federal agency heads to identify grants, contracts, and other funds that could be withheld from the jurisdictions as appropriate. Homeland Security list tagged the state of Maryland, 8 counties and 10 municipalities. The department said it determined whether a government sanctuary jurisdiction by factors like compliance with federal law enforcement, information restrictions, and legal protections for illegal aliens. The department labeled Maryland as a self-identification as a state sanctuary jurisdiction, but does not summarize what that entails. The DHS demands that these jurisdictions immediately review and revise their policies to align with federal laws and renew their obligation to protect American citizens, not dangerous illegal aliens, the statement said. Despite the administration's repeated claim that sanctuary policies violate federal law or obstruct federal immigration enforcement, the policies do neither. Who says this? Who's saying this? Is this WTOP News claiming that these policies Don't obstruct federal law? What the fuck? You're just talking as if you're a government attorney? Mayor Brandon Scott released a statement Thursday that mentions the possibility of suing the administration after a city was listed as a sanctuary jurisdiction. One moment, folks. I think my house might be burning down. All right, folks, I am back. Just a pizza burning in the oven. I'm good. House is good. Burning down the house. Doom, 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 burning down the house. Anyway, all right. Baltimore is not a sanctuary city because we do not have jurisdiction over our jails. What? What? What does that got to do with anything? We follow our limited obligations as defined under federal law, Scott said. We are a welcoming city and make no apologies for that. Okay, there we go. We're better because of our immigrant neighbors and we don't sell them out to this administration. We're not a sanctuary city because we don't have jurisdiction over our jails. Okay, but you have jurisdiction over your police. I think. You have jurisdiction over your other government agencies that can or can refuse to cooperate with immigration officials. 6 of the 10 municipalities the department designated as sanctuary cities are in Prince George's County. Cheverly and Edmondson, and the cities of College Park, Greenbelt, Hyattsville, and Mount Rainier. Let's see. Delashante Martinez, chair of the Legislative Latino Caucus, said in a text message on Thursday night that labels such as sanctuary jurisdiction oversimplify work done to serve and protect residents. Maryland, Prince George's County, and other municipalities have long embraced policies that create welcoming, inclusive communities. There's that word. Where all residents, regardless of immigration status, can live with dignity and safety, Martinez said. These local approaches are rooted in public trust, safety, and effective governance, not political defiance. That's just a bonus, right? In addition to Baltimore City, the other Maryland cities on the list are Annapolis, Rockville, Tacoma Park. Maryland counties on the DHS list were Anne Arundel, Baltimore County, Charles County, Howard, Montgomery, Prince George's, Queens, and Talbot. Maryland does offer limited benefits to undocumented immigrants in the state, including the ability to get a driver's license and buy health insurance in the state marketplaces under some circumstances. But state lawmakers also approved a watered-down version of an immigration bill last month in the final minutes of legislative session. The bill was originally going to prohibit so-called 287G agreements, which allow ICE officers to delegate some federal enforcement authorities to local officers. But the Senate stripped that language out and the House relented. In the final version of the bill, which becomes law Sunday, gives limited protection against immigration action in sensitive locations like churches, schools, or hospitals. So there you go. Maryland just one state on the 500 jurisdictions disagrees. All right, so let's see what else the Trump administration is doing on immigration. Oh, Supreme Court hands Trump a win on revoking parole for 500,000 foreign nationals. Justice Sotomayor and Jackson criticized the decision. Supreme Court on Friday stayed a lower court order that blocked Trump administration from deporting roughly 500 migrants from Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. Hey, wasn't this case one of the ones being cited by that shitty MSNBC article? The decision is a victory for President Trump as he moves to crack down on border security and immigration. The order stays for now a lower court ruling that halted Trump's plans to terminate protected status for temporary protected status protections for some migrants living in the U.S., which allows individuals to work in the U.S. legally if they cannot work safely in their home country due to disaster, armed conflict, or, quote, extraordinary and temporary conditions. The stay, like many emergency orders handed down by the High Court, was unsigned and did not provide explanation for the justice's thinking. Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Jackson Brown did lay out their criticisms in a blistering dissent. Jackson said that in their view, the court plainly botched its assessment and failed to properly weigh the devastating consequences of allowing government to precipitously upend the lives and livelihoods of nearly 500,000 non-citizens while their legal claims are pending. While it is apparent that the government seeks a stay to enable it to inflict maximum precision damage, the court ordered stays to exist to minimize, not maximize, harms to the litigating parties, she added. TPS program is extended to migrants on 18-month increments, most recently under the Biden administration towards the end of his presidency. They're abruptly ended by the Trump administration in February when DHS Secretary Kristi Noem attempted to end protections for a specific group of Venezuelan nationals, arguing they were not in the national interest. U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer asked justices earlier this month to allow the administration to proceed with its decision to revoke the status for the migrants, accusing Judge Edward Chin of improperly intruding on the executive branch's authority over immigration policy. The district court's reasoning is untenable, Sauer told the High Court, adding that the program implicates particularly discretionary, sensitive, important policy-laden judgments of the executive branch regarding immigration policy. The update comes after the Supreme Court also allowed the Trump administration earlier this month to revoke the protected status of 350,000 Venezuelan migrants, clearing the way for the Trump administration to move forward with their plans to remove them. All right. And in other Trump immigration news, we're going down the list here. Trump administration orders enhanced vetting of all Harvard University-linked visa applicants. This ought to be interesting. In a cable dated May 30th and sent to all U.S. diplomatic and consular posts, Secretary of State Mark Rubio instructed the immediate start of additional vetting of non-immigrant visa applicants seeking to travel to Harvard University for any purpose. Such applicants include, but are not limited to, prospective students, faculty, employee, contractors, guest speakers, and tourists, the cable said. The word any in the cable text is written in bold format and underlined. Harvard University failed to maintain, quote, a campus environment free from violence and anti-Semitism, the cable said, and that the enhanced vetting measures were aimed at helping consular officers identify visa applicants with histories of anti-Semitic harassment and violence. While the U.S. has previously acquired additional vetting of visa applicants from particular countries, applying such procedures against Harvard appears to be an unprecedented use of the visa process against a university that's fallen out of favor. Again, this is why I hate journalists. You can't just report the news. You have to throw an opinion chunk in there. Appears to be an unprecedented use of the visa process against a university that's fallen out of favor with the administration. Appears to who? Appears to you? Appears to whoever wrote this article? Who? Let's see. What's the name? Oh, Humaira Pamuk. Let's go ahead and check this person out. Regularly traveling with the U.S. Secretary of State. During her 20 years with Reuters, she's posted and she holds a BA in International Relations. Looks like a white lady, though. I can afford to go down rabbit holes now. Here we go. Yep, nothing about her heritage. Not that it matters. I'm not going to hate on her for her heritage, but she has an interesting name. I was curious where it came from. Okay, back to this. Oh, shit. Okay. Shit, I lost my place in the article. Okay, here it is. Additional measures for Harvard Link applicants were first reported by Fox, but the cable itself is not previously reported. The State Department does not comment on its internal documents or communications, a department spokesperson said in an email when asked about the cable. The Trump administration has launched a multi-front attack on the nation's oldest and wealthiest university, freezing billions of dollars in grants and other funding, proposing to end its tax-exempt status and opening an investigation whether it discriminated against white, Asian, male, straight employees or job applicants. Still not banned here. Thank you for giving me the smiley face. Let me know that somebody's still watching. According to Rumble Studio, we've got 8 viewers, but nobody's saying anything. Y'all listening while you're working, I hope. That's okay. I don't mind people listening on audio only or whatever, or people lurking or whatever may be. I actually like it and I appreciate it. Y'all could be listening to other stuff. You could be listening to NPR. But I appreciate that you're here listening to Mild's Culture Plate. Well, definitely I didn't, I haven't gotten the numbers I'd hoped to get last month or this month. In fact, I'm only going to have about half the viewer numbers that Rumble wanted me to have. So I'm probably going to lose creator program status this month. Rusty Rivers is still here as well. Cheers and welcome. Okay, so Trump alleges top universities are cradles of anti-American movements. In a dramatic escalation, his administration last week revoked Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students, a move later blocked by a federal judge. Harvard argues the Trump administration is retaliating against it for refusing to accede to its demands to control the school's governance, curriculum, and the ideology of its faculty and students. Go away, phone call. Now my watch ain't going to work. The move is also part of the Trump administration's intensifying immigration crackdown and follows Rubio's order to stop scheduling new appointments for student and exchange visitor visa applicants. The top U.S. diplomat also said earlier this week that Washington will start revoking the visas of Chinese students with links to the Communist Party and those who are studying in critical areas. I got that story next. Rusty River says Cookie was scaring me. She does have a tendency to do that. Not sure where she went. But I'm assuming that most of my audience has disappeared because I'm sure Salty Cracker and Tim Pool both live right now. Yeah, I'm going to be changing my streaming day again at the beginning of the month. So I'm looking at maybe gaming streams on Monday and doing the Culture Plate on Thursday. One stream each. 3 hours. 3 hours a night, Monday and Thursday. Monday on my gaming channel, 3 hours on Thursday. Although, no, I don't want to do Thursday. Fuck. I don't know what to do, guys. I might do the Culture Plate on Mondays, but it won't be this week. It won't be this upcoming Monday. I may do something this Monday, but we won't have like an evening full-on Culture Plate show. Jesus. The gaming stream might go on Thursday, but I don't want to do the Culture Plate on Thursday. There's two other creators, not as big as Tim Pool and Salty Cracker, but two other creators who I respect in the more small time Rumble community that I do not want to put my I don't want to put my show against theirs. The implementation of this order will also serve as quote sorry for the ADD there. I'm trying to get back on track. Implementation of this order will serve as a quote pilot for expanded screening and vetting of visa applicants, the cable adds, raising the possibility the measures taken against Harvard and visa applicants are being used as a template for other universities. As it should. We're not discriminating against one university here. The order also directs consular officers to consider questioning the credibility of the applicant if the individual's social media accounts are private, as that may be reflective of evasiveness, and instructs them to seek applicants to set their accounts to public. Now that's a little dirty. Rusty River says Thursday nights would be great or a weekend stream. That's when I get bored. Thursday nights, like I said, I would advise We Are the Show. There's a channel called We Are the Show here on Rumble on Thursdays and Sundays. And I'm just not going to be available on Saturdays. That's part of the problem. So I'd love to go back to doing Saturdays, but it's just not feasible during the summer this year. I may bring it back in the fall. I may go back to Saturday nights in the fall, but right now it's just not going to be feasible. I would love to. Cable instructs consular officers to consider any information about the applicant that does not raise to the level of inadmissibility to ensure the applicant's claimed purpose of travel is consistent with the visa they're seeking. If you're not personally and completely satisfied that the applicant during his time in the United States will engage in activities consistent with his non-immigrant visa status, you should refuse the visa, the cable said. So yeah, I'm not sure I agree with the forcing them to go public on social media, but hey, I don't care. Like you don't belong here. We're being nice to let you in for travel purposes, to do business. Do your business. And if you don't want to be you don't want to go through this deeper screening, then stay home. If you're coming here to create problems, you're probably going to have a problem, Rubio told reporters on April 7th. We're not going to continue to be stupid enough to let people in our country who's coming here to tear things up. Yeah. That after we've had these, riots at these universities about immigration and so forth. And let's go to the related Reuters article. Is this the same writer? No. So this was mentioned in the last article. We'll get into it here. U.S. says it will start revoking visas for Chinese students. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on Wednesday the U.S. will aggressively be revoking visas of Chinese students, including those with connections to the Communist Party or studying in critical fields. It applied to a broad segment of the hundreds of thousands of Chinese university students in the U.S. The move could disrupt a major source of income for American schools and a crucial pipeline of talent for tech companies. Risser says, I wasn't saying I tune in when I get bored. I hope you didn't take that the wrong way. No, I mean, please do. I don't, honestly, whatever reason you tune in and whenever you tune in, you have your reasons. And folks, let me be honest. Let me be perfectly honest here. I might even consider a Saturday show if enough people demand it. Whatever night you folks want me to do a Culture Plate show on, go over to my X account. Say, hey, yeah, bring back Saturday. Or say, hey, man, it'd be nice if you did a show on Wednesday again. Or it'd be nice if you did a show on Tuesday. Tuesday's a little hard because we do have the whole Taco Tuesday ritual here at the house. I could do a shorter show. But it is what it is. I was killing myself with how much streaming I was doing back in April. And yeah, I just need to be careful. Trump administration sought to ramp up deportations and revoke student visas as part of wide-ranging efforts to fulfill its hardline immigration agenda. Rubio said the State Department will also revise visa criteria to enhance scrutiny of all future visa applications from China and Hong Kong. To make sure they don't have Ding Dong from King Kong. Sorry. I had to. I had to do it at some point. State Department will work with the Department of Homeland Security to aggressively revoke visas for Chinese students, he said. China's foreign ministry spokesperson in Beijing on Thursday condemned the move and said it had lodged protests with Washington, while Chinese students with offers from U.S. universities expressed despair at the crackdown. The Chinese foreign ministry previously vowed, quote, to firmly safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese students overseas, following the Trump administration's move to revoke Harvard University's ability to enroll foreign students, many of whom are Chinese. China is also at the epicenter of Trump's global trade war that has roiled financial markets, upended supply chains, and fueled risks of a sharp worldwide economic downturn. The decisions to cancel Chinese student visas comes despite a recent pause in the U.S.-China trade dispute. International students, India, China together, accounting for 54% contributed more than $50 billion to the U.S. economy in 2023, according to the Department of Commerce. That's the problem. That's the problem. Oh, we just need money from any source and all sources, no matter what it is, what they're spending it on. We just need your money. Come bring your money to the United States. No. Don't bring your foreign influence money to the United States to essentially bet on winners and losers in our economy. Oh gosh, university ties to China under scrutiny. I think I'm going to jump forward through this. Jasper Ward's a news reporter in Washington. She primarily covers national affairs and U.S. politics. Previously based in the Bahamas, covered the collapse of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay. Taco Tuesday cooking stream. I might do a cooking stream at some point. I might find it hard because there are areas of my kitchen I cannot film. Areas sort of close to my stove that I cannot film, but I do have a bar. If I could set up 2 cameras and do some editing, I might do a cooking stream. I'll think about it. Oh shit, I love to cook. I might have to do it like on tablets and phones. I don't know how great my cameras are on my 2 phones, but I could pull something like that off. Have the chat running on a tablet. Have Rumble Studio working from my phone. Part of the issue with Rumble Studio from the phone is there are a lot less features, but I could totally do it. It could be done. All right, I'm going to bypass that. And okay, more Trump news. Well, this is more Department of Education news. Education Secretary Linda McMahon threatens a federal civil rights lawsuit over Long Island High School that was forced to ditch a Chiefs mascot. She's going to mat for the Chiefs. Oh, God. Really? We always have to make a wrestling reference when talking about any McMahon family person. Still Not Banned here is also asking for a weekend stream. Okay. What if it's an unstable schedule? What if it's sometimes on Fridays, sometimes on Saturdays? Because that's the best I can commit to. I can't commit to 3 hours every Saturday. I can commit every Friday. Let's see. Linda McMahon threatening to bring a civil rights case against the Empire State for forcing a Long Island high school to ditch its Native American mascot. Former WWE promoter called the New York Board of Regents' 2023 decision to ban a Massapequa High School's beloved Chiefs a nickname, a violation of Title VI of the Federal Civil Rights Act during a visit to the school Friday. If the state doesn't reverse course and allow the Chiefs and their feathered headdress logo to remain, McMahon said she would refer to the issue to the Justice Department to pursue. And here we go. This is how serious we are about it, McMahon said inside the high school's gym after touring classrooms and telling students, "It's a real pleasure to be in a room full of Chiefs." She claimed New York was targeting the Chiefs while allowing other schools with names like Vikings or Dutchmen to remain. Friday nights and Saturday nights suck for content. Well, I mean, like I said, part of my issue with Fridays is right now you got Salty Cracker and Tim Pool, which are two of the biggest creators in this kind of news space, like literally sucking all the eyeballs to them. So my channel will never grow on Friday nights. We topped out at 9 viewers, which is reasonable for a show my size. 9 viewers. Don't get me wrong. I love y'all. I love how many people show up. I'm not shitting on 9 viewers. I love having 9 viewers. But that number got cut in half like at 7:15 Central Time. So, it was like 5-10 minutes after Salty Cracker and Tim Pool went live. We went down to 5 viewers on Rumble. And Cookie left. And Cookie left over on YouTube. If you look at states, you've got the Huguenots, we've got the Highlanders, Scotsmen. Why is that not considered in any way racist, she asked. While McMahon and the local supporters defended the name, state officials said they were doing the students of Massapequa a grave disservice by ignoring the facts and true history of the local indigenous people. Spokesperson J.P. O'Hare criticized that the town has failed to get even the most basic facts right, such as the feathered headdress that Massapequa displays being locally inaccurate, and that the term chief was not used in the area either. What's your fucking point? What's your fucking point? Who said this has to be a local fucking native? Most importantly, there's no recognition of the ways in which European settlers were responsible for displacing indigenous people from their homes, O'Hare said. Adding that local indigenous representatives find that certain Native American names and images perpetrate negative stereotypes and are demonstrably harmful to children. Yeah, Rusty. Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find my spot. That's why I keep moving it around. Still not banned here. Says most of the people have lies, not a diss to all of us though. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm trying to have a life. So that's why like Wednesdays and Saturdays started becoming untenable, because there were a lot of events and social activities happening those 2 days of the week around here. And I found myself more and more unable to find anything going on other than Taco Tuesday, by the way. I found myself more and more unable to participate in much of the things that were happening in my area because it was all happening on Saturdays and Wednesdays. Quote, equally troubling is the fact that the Secretary of Education would take time out of her schedule to disrupt student learning in the name of political theater. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Massapequa School Board President Carrie Walker rebutted, saying they're sticking to their talking points and listening to only one side of the story. She pointed to a 2016 poll which showed 9 in 10 Native Americans do not take offense to terms like Redskins. Trump, who posed with a Massapequa shirt in the Oval Office, ordered McMahon to take up the issue in April. Federal government became involved after a plea from Wachter, whose district, among other Native American named towns on Long Island, unsuccessfully sued New York over the mandate. This is a school that really takes its education seriously, and they're incredibly behind their school, behind their chiefs, McMahon told the Post. I think this is wrong, what's happening at Massapequa. To take away this incredible mascot and emblem of the Chiefs. After Trump intervened, O'Hare said in a statement that Massapequa did not reach out to indigenous leaders or engage with the department's mascot advisory committee to determine whether its Native American team name and mascot would be permissible. What? I'm legitimately speechless and confused here. The name didn't exist before the committee? If members of the Massapequa Board of Education are genuinely interested in honoring and respecting Long Island's Native American past, they should talk to the indigenous people who remain on Long Island, the rep said. Our regulations, in fact, specifically permit the continued use of Native American names and mascots if approved by local tribal leaders. But Massapequa's school district superintendent, Dr. William Brennan, called the state's claim simply inaccurate. He added that several attempts were made by the district and local tribal leaders attended a roundtable summer in the summer of 2023. Frank Blackcloud, a leading member of the Native American Guardians Association, which is working with Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman on the issue, is a firm supporter of keeping names like chiefs in schools and calls it a term of endearment. People want to emulate you, Black Cloud, who's previously defended names like Fighting Sioux and Redskin, said at the event. You're talking about strength, talking about something that people uphold. Town of Oyster Bay Supervisor Joseph Saladino, an MHS alumnus and hockey player, doubled down that this is a case of rules for thee, but not for me in the Empire State. The New York State Department of Education has someone who's the chief of staff. Hey, are they going to change their name? Oh, I hate that argument. Rusty River says, I work 50 to 60 hours a week and still watch your shit every chance I get. Can't say that to Salty or Tim Stool. Sure. And granted, like I said, we do have a little bit different of an audience. I do cater to, people who aren't necessarily interested in that big of people. But, I also know that, there's some overlap. Salt in the wound, Seaford, the first town west of Massapequa, along with Port Washington, named their teams the Vikings, to no objection from the state of New York. Hofstra University in Nassau was previously known as the Flying Dutchman as well. They have Spartans and Vikings and all these things, but they're seeing this particular group of people who are not allowed to be represented, said Wachter, whose district also filed an amended court complaint ahead of a June deadline. That's a civil rights issue. We're standing tall, showing Massapequa pride, and we do take offense to them trying to take it away from us. The town will be having a Save the Chiefs fundraiser next weekend at the high school, and Black Cloud will engage in a Native American seminar at Massapequa's popular Nautilus Diner. We're about education, not eradication, said Black Cloud, who flew from his North Dakota home to meet McMahon. If you have an opposing idea, let me hear it. I'll open up a dialogue with you. So should I give a rant about this? I come from Kansas City, where there's been a lot of these kinds of news articles. I'll probably catch Salty Cracker later on the replay, on the on demand, and hopefully, folks, if you're out there catching me on the on demand later after Salty wraps up or after Tim Pool wraps up, if you're catching me on the on demand, please leave a comment, either down in the comment section of this video or over on my X. Just let me know you watch. I get the numbers from Rumble, but the numbers don't accurately represent to me the right views. You know what I mean? It doesn't engage with me mentally. All right. One last story from the New York Post. I'm sure you folks have seen by now, if you've been following other social media creators, you've been seeing this video of French President Emmanuel Macron in the doorway to an aircraft when a hand reaches into frame and does this to him. See if I can find that video real quick. And then, of course, you see that the arm belongs to Brigitte. Now, without getting into, I know every time we mention Brigitte, we kind of got to get into some of the conspiracy theories. Rusty River says the real Joe Biden smashed his face. Oh, you think Joe Biden transitioned into Brigitte? That's an interesting theory. So anyway, all the conspiracy theories, quote, conspiracy theories, the believable theories from Candace Owens and others about the origins of Brigitte Macron and who she used to be, aside, because I'm not going to hammer on that. It's definitely interesting to see a world leader, the leader of a nation, the leader of an allegedly free nation, get walloped in the face. Actually, let me go back to that real quick. Because I saw other people speculating. Just go back to the slow motion here. I saw other people speculating that maybe she was wiping a white streak off his nose, but I don't see a tissue. I don't think that's happening. Anyway, so Macron got some advice from the New York Post. Trump offers Emmanuel Macron marriage advice after slap from wife Brigitte. Yeah, Rusty Rivers, caught on camera is the interesting part to me. Yes, me too. Because, France isn't necessarily the freest of nations. So the idea that their media would catch. President Trump offered up a tip for First Family to preserve domestic tranquility after his Paris counterpart Emmanuel Macron was publicly slapped by his wife Brigitte on a foreign trip earlier this week. Make sure the door remains closed, Trump chuckled in the Oval Office while responding to a question about the stunning video of Macron's assault as the couple prepared to disembark in Vietnam Sunday night. That was not good, Trump said of the video. No, I spoke to him and he's fine. They're fine. They're two really good people. I know them very well. And I don't know what that was all about, but I know them very well and they're fine. Oh, keep the door closed, he said. The family drama caught on camera through the open door of the official plane and left Macron staggered before he recovered himself and belatedly waved to watching reporters. Brigitte didn't take her husband's arm when they walked down the stairs of the plane, and a lip reader told the UK Daily Express newspaper that she appeared to hiss, "Dégagez, espèce de loser," or in English, "Stay away, you loser." We are squabbling and rather joking with my wife, Macron said Monday about the incident, before adding, people are saying all sorts of nonsense. Everyone needs to calm down. Brigitte, 72, is 25 years older than the president. The two began dating when Macron was just 15 and a study of drama and literature teacher who was a married a mother of 3. Really? Where are the children? Where are the children? Trump and Macron have had a notably jovial relationship since the Frenchman took office in 2017. Rusty River says almost like the Katy Perry Bezos landing video. Yeah, that was a little creepy too. The Macrons were the U.S. president's guests of honor at his first state dinner in 2018 when the two men exchanging the traditional French bis on both cheeks. Subsequent years, Trump has needled Macron with hard handshakes that threaten to devolve in personal games of tug of war. You love to see it. You love to see it. The French men. Oh my God, I'm not even close to the main story yet. I've gotten so bogged down with shit. Trump has pardoned Chris Chrisley. Let me go ahead and jump forward here. Trump has pardoned Chris Chrisley, who was previously sentenced for tax evasion. So he's now been pardoned. And he had this to say about the media.
Mr. Chrisley, do you have any remorse for the actions that led to your evictions?
Oh, you must be CNN.
Do you have a comment made about the allegations of your convictions? He said, you must be CNN.
I have any remorse? I would have remorse if it was something that I did.
Well, your wife did apologize last year.
Well, let me explain to you how that works, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You're placed in a position as...
Oh, did you see that? Now, look. Chris Chrisley gets a lot of shit for... Well, let's face it. He's not the most masculine of men, right? Like, his masculinity is definitely not on display. But right there, that was a moment of masculinity. Let me answer, honey. You know, like, woman, know your place. I'm talking to the media. Like, it was great. You got to love it. Hang on, let me go back to that.
Let me explain to you how that works, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
You're placed in a position as a defendant to either bow down and kiss the ass of the Department of Justice and accept responsibility for things that you did not do in order to avoid a stronger sentence. And the corruption that went on in our case is going to continue to unfold, and Alex is going to continue to give each and every one of you the evidence that as it comes in.
So still claiming he's innocent. All right. I mean, that's kind of bold because, you know, Trump may not be in there forever. And who knows what the next administration might do. But I respect it. I respect it. And so, yes, Trump has pardoned the Chrisleys. And Rusty River says Chrisleys are gross. Sorry. I know nothing about their actual TV show. I did read, I covered on the show when they got sentenced. I covered a little bit of their case. And yeah, it does seem like your standard, government thinks they found somebody who found the wrong loophole to the IRS and went after him. All right. In other news, let's do the Glenn Greenwald. It's very short. I won't have much to say about it. Let's talk about Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald this morning posted this. What is this thing here? What are you doing, Twitter? Go away. I don't want that. Okay. Glenn Greenwald. Last night, videos were released online depicting behavior in my private life. Some were distorted and others were not. They were published without my knowledge or consent, and its publication was therefore criminal. Though we do not yet know exactly who is responsible, we are close to knowing, and the motive was maliciously political one. As for the content of the videos, I have no embarrassment or regret about them. The videos depict consenting adults engaged in intimate actions in their private lives. They all display fully consensual behavior, harming nobody. Obviously, it can be uncomfortable and unpleasant when your private behavior is made public against your will. That's why the behavior is private in the first place. But the only wrongdoing here is the criminal and malicious publication of the videos in an attempt to malign perceived political enemies and advance a political agenda. Others are, of course, free to form their own judgments, as some are prone to do about others' private lives. It won't change my work. I will continue all the many prongs of my journalism and pursue the causes most important to me exactly as before. Now, I caution anyone right now to do a search for Glenn Greenwald. The images are very disturbing, degenerate, and graphic. And well, the story seems to be about a notable conservative commentator engaged in gay and other less than masculine behaviors, cross dressing, stuff like that. I'm not going to show any of these images on my show. Let me be clear. I'm not going to show any of these images on my show. It appears there may have been drug paraphernalia in the background of one of the images. There were talks of male prostitutes involved. I don't care. There has been some running commentary on the fact that Greenwald does have 2 children adopted. Fact. If you go to his profile picture, and so you kind of hope that the children are not exposed to this kind of behavior in any way, shape, or form, whether directly or indirectly, whether intentionally or unintentionally. I know that has been a concern in the conservative movement, that when gay men adopt, that they will abuse the children. So I will clearly say, hopefully these children are not exposed to this kind of behavior in any way, shape, or form, intentionally or unintentionally. Other than that, it's none of our fucking business. And the fact that this is even a story is quite ridiculous. The fact that someone, and look, we had our jokes, we had our fun a couple weeks ago at the expense of Nancy Mace. Yeah, they're all sick fucks. Get in the fire and get burnt. We see them all. Thanks and fuck you, the internet. Yeah. So-called conservatives are sharing gay porn all over the internet today. All over the internet. So-called conservatives. Showing men in various states of undress. Showing men doing sexual acts on each other. You got to wonder why. Why now? Why this? And why this man? Like, we know he's gay. He's never tried to hide who he is. But he's unapologetically America first. And I don't mean the Nick Fuentes people. I don't mean Groyper. I mean, he's unapologetically for America. He's unapologetically for free speech. And his journalism, his exposing scandal, the things he's done, this is desperation. And of course, you have, people coming out of the woodwork. I'm sure you could see the comments there. We got Garbage Human saying you owe me 20 years of my life back after seeing that. Andrew Tate saying fuck him, keep up the good fight. Cernovich saying, I'm glad I've been out of the loop and missed this. Sorry you've been targeted. Showing moral courage is important because blackmail only works when people live in fear, which is what they want. Demand via coercive ways. A hypocrite saying, whatever the Brazilian equivalent of CPS needs to drug test you immediately. So again, hypocrite's ultra Christian conservative. So I get why he believes that. But let's go to Ian Carroll. Glenn Greenwald's scandal just proves the point. Israel's modern image is built on blackmail. Glenn Greenwald, keep being one of the best journalists of our time, and you're all good. Sorry that you're going through this. The scandal reflects far worse on Zionists than you. Yes, Glenn Greenwald has been a little critical of Israel lately. I don't know, and of course everyone in the comments, especially pro-Zionists like Laura Loomer, whoever this person is. Now, I'm not saying it's Israel, but obviously, why now? Why now, of all times, when this seems to be one of the hot button issues that seem to be getting hit pieces put out by everyone, about everyone involved. I do have to ask, why now? All right, let's get into the main story. We're running out of time. We got to get into the main story. Let's go to Seattle, where we're going to talk a little bit about freedom in Seattle, or the lack thereof. Okay, from the Seattle Times. Seattle got owned in the latest free speech battle. A few hours after a Christian rally in Seattle last weekend that ended with 23 protesters getting arrested, one of the founders of the event could scarcely contain his glee. We started a riot today in Seattle during worship and the gospel, tweeted Ross Johnson, a co-leader of May Day USA, which put on the anti-abortion, anti-trans event. The church is alive. Now again, this is Seattle Times. And as you know, in these liberal cities, the newspapers are very liberal. So let's go to the videotape. Instead of trusting the local media to report what happened in their city, let's go to the videotape. Thank you, Turning Point USA's Front Lines, for this report.
Hundreds of Christian worshipers flooded Seattle's Cal Anderson Park Saturday afternoon to pray for the city and take a stand for traditional
rally,
family
y'all.
values.
You will not disrespect the blood of Jesus.
Oh no, they put their arms in the air.
Especially against transgender ideology targeting children.
Oh man, hopefully they were singing Kanye's new song while they were... No, I'm just kidding.
All part of the May Day USA revival movement sweeping across the nation.
And the Lord says, sound the alarm! Sound the alarm! Lift up your voice!
But a time of blessing and praise quickly
Hashtag don't mess with our kids. How hateful.
evolved into chaos. Far-left activists and Antifa militants tried to disrupt the concert.
Pushing cops, fighting, absolutely
Throwing water balloons at the crowd, menacing attendees, and some activists even tried rushing the stage.
I would say there's two kingdoms clashing here today. There's the kingdom of God.
Look at that.
And then there's the
Look at the
kingdom
masks.
of Satan.
Which led to numerous clashes and scuffles with
Oh, look
police.
at that, being drug away.
activists, and then you got the concert going on.
What
here right
the
now.
hell was that? No, I know I just said I don't want to be showing gay porn on the show just a minute ago, but dear God, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
You got the concert going on here right now. What's it been like today?
And I think it just illustrates the idea that people who champion free speech and champion free expression are
Wait, what was that?
Did
you see that t-shirt?
Anybody else in irritated expression. People who champion free speech.
Classy. Fucking classy people.
And champion free expression are ultimately threatened and irritated by anybody else who has an opposing message. So
Russell Johnson with Pursuit Church was one of several pastors from Seattle participating with their congregations.
the mayor's trying to declare a state of emergency to shut down the event, but we're not going anywhere.
He says some of his volunteers were assaulted during the melee.
We've got people with bloody faces.
That's his worship pastor, Michael Leidy, stopping a man from crashing the gathering.
It's absolutely crazy.
As the day progressed, another group of trans activists marched into the park, adding to the number of people targeting followers of...
Wait, what was that? Okay, they did spell Bible right. It just looked funny. Like your kerning is off. Like you're all wrong centered and... What a dude.
Into the park, adding to the number of people targeting followers of Jesus Christ
this music
with nasty
sucks.
messages. Vile curse
then
words
why are you standing there listening
debauchery.
to it?
But even with the taunting,
no.
middle fingers, and disparaging comments, Folake Kellogg says prayers of love and forgiveness were sent to their attackers on the other side.
Not only do we come here to show the love of God, but we hope that by the time we are done here, that the atmosphere in Seattle will change.
We will be setting back up the fence line, and any counter-protesters are going to be escorted back behind it.
Officers eventually put up a metal barricade, separating the violent mob from concert goers after more militants tried to breach the police.
Hey, we got great liquor. Wait, what? Great liquor gifted memberships. Anonymously gifted memberships. Cheers and welcome, great liquor. Good seeing you in the chat. Thank you for that. Got to get my sponsorship thing back on. Default. Okay. Boom. There we go. All right.
Line. When all was said and done, 23 people were hauled away in handcuffs, one officer injured,
23
and a city
hauled away,
left in desperate need of healing and leadership. Instead, Mayor Bruce Harrell sent out a controversial statement that appeared to be more divisive,
they look
calling
so
the Christian
friendly.
concert an extreme right-wing rally that went against the LGBTQ values of the city.
That one with green hair.
Implying the peaceful worshipers brought this on themselves over the weekend. Harrell also questioned why a permit to use the park was issued to the group.
I think they're going to have changes.
This got the attention of the Trump administration.
This is the president's agenda.
Assistant Attorney General for Civil
Harmie
Rights Harmie Dillon wrote on X, to deny a group a permit to pray in a public space because of crowd reaction is the classic heckler's veto, which is barred by the First Amendment.
Yep.
Seattle's mayor clearly needs an education in viewpoint discrimination.
The mayor of Seattle owes Christians in Washington state an apology for his bigoted remarks.
Pastor Johnson eviscerated the mayor during his Sunday sermon.
Church people were assaulted, and the mayor of Seattle has the audacity to blame Christians for the violence.
And is mobilizing hundreds of evangelicals for a protest in front of City Hall on Tuesday.
It's not just us who've been
assaulted, cover that in a minute.
Beat up as well.
Johnson says they're demanding an apology after Harrell victim-blamed Christians.
No, the police know because they see it on the front lines. Who are the real agitators?
The pastor says it's also time to send a strong message to political leaders in Washington state who have failed to condemn far-left violence for years. In the end, None of the Christians retaliated and were safely escorted out by police after the concert.
Well, we did see the one guy
Many
dragging
saying the
somebody off.
persecution energized their faith.
The Bible says this is going to happen. You know, this is nothing new. It's something we're used to. And we just love the opportunity to love on them and share the gospel.
And are now planning to pray even harder for Seattle.
Everyone receives Jesus in a different way.
Hoping
for
to
your
conquer
neighbors, y'all.
hate with the love of Christ.
Okay, so thank you to Frontline Turning Point USA for that. I almost forgot which button to push. Okay. And we've got more on the story. Got more on the craziness. Okay, the next couple clips is from Cam Higby, who apparently was streaming the event on YouTube. So here's this is this video is of quote unquote Reverend Erica Williams. Don't find these people online. But, you know, an obvious online activist. And this is at the City Hall protest on the 27th. So this was a few days later. So Antifa deciding to bully the Christians again when they showed up to protest City Hall. So once again, craziness. And I got these a little out of order. This is back... Or no, this is the same thing. Same thing, same lady and her ilk. And this is a young lady and her baby trying to make her way to the protest at City Hall. Now look, I'm not a fan of bringing children to a protest. Never a fan of it. But at the same time, maybe you don't go to a protest to get violent with the other protesters. If you're going to counter protest, like this guy in the fucking riot mask and helmet, he showed up to fuck some shit up. But at the same time, like, kids should know about the hate. But I'm never a fan of bringing kids to a protest. Even if it's a church function. Got the boys crying, people yelling, "Go home, fascists." They're going to pepper spray people, and I don't want your children hurt, says the guy in a mask. And now you got cops getting involved. Get the child out of here. Get the child out of here, because if I start my combat, I don't want to be seen on camera hitting a child. What a lovely lady. What a lovely lady. You better get your mother. All right. I forget which. I have a couple more clips of people getting arrested at the first rally. Let's see here. What do we have here? I need to double check my links here because I mixed up some older clips with. Yeah, here was the first rally. Police had a guy hogtied.
Why any of these people are under arrest? Fucking cowards. None of you know. So you're all admitting that you're arresting these people for no reason.
For no reason.
No reason at all. What are they under arrest for?
They were disrupting a public event.
Sergeant 3, Sergeant 4. What are they under arrest for? Are they scary? What are they under arrest for? They have one reason. What are they under arrest for?
They were getting fucking violent.
None of you knows why any of these people are under arrest. Fucking cowards.
Okay, lady. All right. What is this one? This was the only one I haven't checked. Yeah, I think it's just another video of people getting arrested. Yeah. Yeah, we saw some of that in the initial clip, so I'm going to skip that one because we're running out of time. We still got Do Love, Don't Judge. Okay, so we were watching, before that, we were watching, let's see, what is this? This 28th. Okay, we'll do this. Okay, we were watching the City Hall stuff, and eventually the City Hall stuff got broken up by police, and let's... This is from Post Millennial. Probably Andy, no. Eventually, police had a barricade between the protesters and the counter-protesters here. And of course, all the masked people with their middle fingers. Lovely people. Now, remember, Rusty Rivers said babies should be at pro-life protests. This was kind of a pro-life protest. It was pro-Christian. That was one of the many things they were praying for. But remember, these far leftists are the hate has no home here people, right? But look at the looks on their faces. Yeah, they're definitely not into hate. And we here at Mild's Culture Plate, we love our motto, our slogan, outlast haters. So yeah, hate has no home. If you're going to be a hater, this is what happens. You wind up standing behind a line of cops watching other people have fun. Okay, so that was that. All right, now what was this last video? This one had a reference in the caption. I want to just kind of see. Frontline TPUSA did sort of an update on the story. Little 3-minute update. We'll see what it says here.
In a show of spiritual force, hundreds of Christians and their allies went scorched earth on Mayor Bruce Harrell outside Seattle City Hall.
It's time for the mayor to resign!
Pastor Russell Johnson led the charge, demanding an apology or a resignation from Harrell after he labeled their peaceful concert at Cal Anderson Park over the weekend an extreme right-wing rally.
Extreme right-wing rally.
The evangelicals for Antifa chaos and violence, implying they had it coming to them. As Johnson continued to pick apart the mayor's abysmal record in office.
Drug overdoses are up 89%. Property crimes, rapes, and violent assaults are all up.
He announced the White House was aware of what was going on in Seattle and would be taking swift action.
Serving a search warrant.
On cue, Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino posted on X, "We have asked our team to fully investigate allegations of targeted violence against religious groups at the Seattle concert. Freedom of religion isn't a suggestion."
Bongino's on the case, y'all. Well, let's hope he gets more justice and more of an investigation than the whole Epstein thing.
And we're just here not to ask for special treatment. I'm here to ask for ordinary treatment.
Pastor Johnson is also threatening to sue the city for First Amendment violations after the mayor implied he would deny Christians any future permits for concerts at certain city parks. Meanwhile, Antifa counter-protesters outside the barricaded perimeter.
I was about to say, that's not very Christian language. And then, no, it wasn't them. It was the Antifa. It was the Antifa, not the Christians, shouting cuss words. Why would I think anything different?
Continue to cause chaos and target Christians trying to get into the rally. Look at this woman with her baby being accosted by the crowd, and these people cornered and assaulted by the mob. Journalist Katie Daviscourt was chased by militants before police intervened.
They all hunted me down. Seattle police had to save me.
All right, we're now here at the
Okay, it was Katie Davis,
Cherry.
not Andy.
And I was
who had
also
the
menaced
other
on the streets.
Oh my gosh, I don't have time for you.
Surrounded by these goons and this masked man who lunged at me with his camera, body checking me as I walked toward City Hall. I defended myself as I tried to leave the scene.
Get off my face, man!
Police eventually arrested him, along with 7 other activists throughout the day.
Another Antifa militant arrested here right now.
Fallout for the mayor has been swift. His approval ratings continue to plummet, and local media critics are having a field day.
It's probably because he's trying to score political points with the left.
In the end, the mayor refused to apologize or resign and is doubling down, releasing a statement saying he will not be intimidated by fear-mongering
he
or
knows the
divisive
Troons
rally.
will keep electing him.
Bruce! Bye-bye, Bruce! About to drop an album here at City Hall.
Pastor Johnson says the hubris and lack of humility being exhibited by the mayor will ultimately be his downfall.
And so, my hope is that he's sensing and feeling and knowing, hey, there's a real weight to this thing. I screwed up, and I either better fix it or pack my bags and head in the next direction.
All right. So another big thank you to TPUSA and Post Millennial for their coverage of those two events. Seattle's a fucking hellhole. It's a shithole. And I'm shocked that there's that many Christians still there. I really am. So I went from being way behind on my news stories here on my feed here to being a little bit ahead now. I was way behind, now I'm a little bit ahead. So let's do this. Let's go back to AP, where there's this story out of New York that's taken some turns here. Rusty Rear says, my man Dan, he got to say what he got to say. No longer a podcaster. Sure, I'll get some hate from that, but that's what my gut tells me. No, I'm not going to hate on you. I mean, like I said, I wish that his scrutiny on the Epstein deletion was as strong as it was when he was a podcaster. That's all I'm going to say about that. That his comments about the Epstein alleged death, that it had more scrutiny. This idea of, I saw a videotape. That's another video that came out this week where he says, look, I saw a videotape. He went in, nobody else went in, and then it was done. It's like, I don't know about all that. Like, oh, that proves everything. That proves nobody ever was able to enter the cell in other ways, or nobody was able to administer drugs to him, or a note to him telling him, look, take this pill and wrap the sheet around your neck, or we're going to kill your family, or something like that. Just saying. I still fail to believe that paper sheets killed Epstein. And oh wow, look, my camera's refreshing again. I hope you can hear me. What the hell is going on? There we go. All right. Well, sorry about all the chats getting wiped from the screen. Rumble took its usual Amber Heard. All right. Anyway, so let's go to New York. Let's go to New York and follow this weird news story. Okay, NYPD probing detectives who worked security at a house where a man says he was tortured. Associated Press source says. Updated 9:30 on May 30th. Okay, so New York City police are investigating two detectives who worked security in an upscale Manhattan townhouse where a man said that he was kidnapped and tortured for weeks by two crypto investors who wanted to steal his Bitcoin, a city official said Thursday. One of the detectives serves on Mayor Adams' security detail and is believed to have picked up the victim from a local airport and brought him to the townhouse, the official said. It's not immediately clear if the other detective, who is a narcotics officer, has any connection to the incident. The detectives have been placed on modified leave pending the outcome of the inquiry, according to the official, who was briefed on the case and spoke anonymously to the AP because they're not authorized to discuss internal investigation. It is not uncommon for members of the New York Police Department to do security work outside of the city jobs but need to receive prior approval. At this point, the official said the department is looking into whether the officers received such approval. Mayor Adams' office confirmed that one of the detectives provides security detail for the Democrat, but said the mayor has no knowledge of what the officer does on personal time. Every city employee is expected to follow the law, including our officers, both on and off duty, the mayor's office said in a statement. We're disturbed by these allegations. In response to an emailed inquiry, an NYPD spokesperson confirmed two members were placed on modified duty Wednesday. A lawyer for the labor union representing NYPD detectives said there's absolutely no indication either officer witnessed any of alleged illegal activity. James Moschella described the officers as outstanding public servants with distinguished careers who were working a legitimate job driving a private client in their off-duty hours. There's simply no way to have predicted the true activities of what all objective accounts were legitimate businessmen. Rusty River says, of course, Epstein Clinton cited himself, but of course that will not be in the files. Bongino's position can't say anything else. Of course. But again, just going by files and potentially doctored videotapes and saying, oh, case closed. I don't know. Hopefully we'll hear more later down the road. Crypto investors John Woltz and William Duplessis have been charged in the case. The lawyers have declined to comment. Authorities allege that on May 6th, the two men lured the victim, who they knew personally, to a posh townhouse in Manhattan's Soho neighborhood, threatening to kill his family. The man, a 28-year-old Italian national who's not been named by officials, said he was then held captive for 17 days as the two investors tormented him with electrical wires, forced to smoke a crack pipe, and at one point dangled him from a staircase 5 stories high. He eventually agreed to hand over his computer password Friday morning, then managed to flee the home as his captors went to retrieve the device. The investigation into the officers began incidentally on the same day Adams headlined a crypto convention in Las Vegas, where he described New York as the Bitcoin capital of the country. Yes, he never said case closed, but he's saying it as if he's tempering expectations of the public into this story. All right. One last little thing. Speaking of New York, a little reminder. James O'Keefe is giving us our weekly reminder that the DOJ raided a newsroom, dropped the case 4 years later, and were required to release the probable cause justification they used to obtain the warrant, and redacted every single word. It says, now tell me I should trust the government. And proceeds to say, and yes, the current administration has the power to unredact this. So again, going back to what Rusty Rivers was saying, and I'm not shitting on you, Rusty Rivers, I agree with you, but Bongino, Bongino and Patel. Here's a job for you, Bongino and Patel. And he said, I've reached out to White House officials and they've requested that they unredact this. I have not heard back. Okay. So, shout out to James O'Keefe. Again, what happened to him was an injustice. Sanglet says, never trust a Fed further than you can throw them. I mean, like I said, there's certain aspects of Patel and Bongino I do trust, but I just want them to have the same scrutiny they had when they were on the other side of the...
This is CJ.
On the other side of the thin blue line, so to speak. All right. It's that time, folks. You ready to see some degenerate relationships? Every Friday, we do a segment called Love Does Admonish, where we go take a peek at this YouTube channel that's called Love Don't Judge. And on Love Don't Judge, every week, they have someone in a unique relationship who gets some hate online for what their relationship's like and proceed to try to justify it in the Love Don't Judge channel and tell us why it's totally cool and acceptable and why we should not judge them for who they are. And today is no different. Cyclist says, I could throw cash about 15 feet. Okay, well, so there's a little bit of trust there. Cheers. All right, so let's do this. Let's go see if they deserve some admonishment. In today's segment, my girlfriend clones her body parts to sell online.
This is CJ. He fell in love with Gabby.
People judge our relationship because we both sleep with other people.
CJ and Gabby are both spicy content creators.
I think any teenage boy, their dream's always been to be with an adult creator.
We wanted to expand on what we were doing, so we started an online adult shop. Guess what this is?
Like this.
It looks so much like my bit.
Like this, like she looks like a female impersonator. Uh-oh, Rusty Rivers. Cookie and I were going to get on this show, but then she dumped me. Oh, I got to ask her about that next time.
I do get a lot of online judgment. Low class, bottom society, stain, interrace loser scum.
Shit stain, interrace loser scum.
Today, our friend Jeremy is coming over.
Jeremy was the first male that I was okay with Gabby sleeping with.
How do you think your first experience went shooting with another male and another couple?
Oh, no.
So we first met, it was just about a year ago now. And I actually purchased a dog from him, and he kept tagging me in these stories of these puppies that he had. And
I'm still saying, like, this, it's possible she's just a really ugly woman, but she seems fucking trans. That is such a square ass jaw.
And I bought one, and then
that was it.
That was it. The rest is history. It was a bit of fun. We both did not expect to fall for each other as hard as we did.
It just kind of rolled into a relationship, didn't it?
I was in the adult industry and CJ wasn't. So that was a challenge because I am sleeping with other people for a living, and that's a concept that he was not used to.
I was very...
Australia. Yeah, naturally. This is a concept he's not used to. Well, yes, because normal human beings would run far. Don't date the stripper. Definitely don't date the porn star. And look, it's okay. Never mind. I'm just going to keep playing this.
Very hesitant at the start about it as well.
Yeah, so just setting up the room for today.
Gabby's getting her outfit changes ready.
Feeling purple today. Got it going.
Got it going, baby.
So we do have...
Rusty Rivers, I'd have to see the vagina. I mean, I'm sure you can for the right amount of money. They mounted the cam 90 degrees off.
Rules when it comes to work, because we don't want anything to come into play where there's any jealousy. We will work with females who are single, females that are in relationships.
She put on reading glasses to look smart.
That have those boundaries with their partner.
It was amazing.
But when we're working with male
she's got dark
creators,
roots.
we prefer to do that in a couple-to-couple setting. We wanted to expand on what we were doing rather than just filming. We wanted to delve into something different, so we started an online adult shop.
We've got different products that we import.
We've added in items that you might not find in just your regular adult store.
One of those is actually the mold of my lady parts. So I've cloned it. It's pretty much exact. We've still got to make a few
so that's
different
what they're showing with
alterations to it.
Wow.
It's
Looks really good.
I know, it looks so much like my bits, doesn't
Very,
it?
very similar.
We thought, there's people out.
Most people don't even know what their bits look like. Most women don't know what their bits look like. And I guess dudes don't know what the back of their ball sack look like. But anyway, down in that far area down there, like, you either have to be always on camera or be checking the shit out in a mirror all the time to see those parts of your body. The fact that she's on camera so much that she like, oh yeah, that looks exactly like my kitty.
Out there that have molded their parts before. This is the next best thing other than having me in flesh.
I definitely don't mind if lots of...
Still not banned here. Are you putting a mirror in my chat during that little rant? Are you putting a mirror in my chat? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you ladies are checking things out. I mean, it's smart to check out your own body. Don't get me wrong. It's a smart thing to do. I just don't know many people that would admit to knowing what their parts look like. So maybe that's just me being a prude. I don't know.
Guys out there, buy one of your
lady bits.
Lady bits.
I haven't planned on cloning any more parts of my body, but we have spoken about possibly his parts.
Cloning mine.
Because I think the world deserves to have one of him. Do you want to get some selfies for our social media? Let's get some with the dogs. I do get a lot of online judgment. They'd even go so far as messaging my family on Facebook.
Don't do it.
Stuff like, your daughter's a tramp. Some of the comments that I receive are next level when it comes to bullying. Comments like, how do you live each day knowing you're a complete or I'm being told I'm ugly, I'm disgusting. Low class, bottom society, stain, interrace, loser scum. Why are
I don't get the interrace comment.
you such a pushover? The worst reactions are probably...
Why are you a pushover? You just laughed. That's all you did was laugh? You didn't address any of it? What the hell? I mean, don't get me wrong. My motto's outlast the haters. But like, you're not outlasting them by scaring away from the argument.
The loss of people who I thought were really close to me. I'm not worried about what people think of me.
Obviously not. That's part of the problem.
So today we've got our friend Jeremy coming over. Jeremy was actually the first male that we worked with.
Look, I'm not going to lie. This very broadcast you guys are watching has alienated some people who I once thought were close to me. You got to be able to defend your own life, right? And I agree. Look, if it makes you lose loved ones, you got to make that determination whether that's a rational ask or not, you know? But at some point, like, selling rubber vaginas of yourself and showing yourself on the internet. Folks, I'm going to look and see if I can find this story I read about that involves the dangers of doing this kind of stuff. Rusty Roo says, what's the problem here if she's a she and he's a he? It's the commoditization of it, right? And look, I'm always one to blame the simps for the pornography problem. Like, pornography, it's a thing. I'm not saying ban it. But young men in particular need to just stop. Stop being so fucking desperate to see naked women that you're willing to pay this thing money. That you're willing to just throw money at the wall. Like, there's places on the internet you could see titties for free. Like, I bet if I went to X right now and typed the word titties, hang on. I bet you. Yep, first thing is a big old nipple. Yep. Anyway, not trying to look up porn on the stream. Not going to show it to y'all, but trust me, there's plenty of places you can see titties for free. So anyone giving this woman money for a copy of her used up hole, a poor substitute for her used up hole, or her used panties, or pictures or videos of her used up hole getting used up, like, what the hell are you doing with your life? That you can afford to throw money at her instead of using that money to improve your life to get a woman better than her.
Together as a couple.
We actually became very good friends with him. He's a great guy. Him and his partner, they do content creating as well. So I think it'll be interesting to have his opinion from his side.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you with clothes on.
Brother man. Good to see you, my boy. Thank you for having me.
The margaritas here.
Poured you a nice margarita.
Friends, thank you. Nice to see you guys. How have you been?
What the fuck is that?
Good. How have you been?
I know that CJ was a little bit uncertain and a little bit nervous to shoot content with a male with Gabby. I know the first time you do bring another male in to shoot content, it can be a little bit daunting. I would love to ask both Gabby and CJ how they now feel about...
I'm sorry, this guy is far too fucking excited. Like, this guy is far too, like... Are you sure you're here for the woman, sir?
Working and bringing males in to create content with them online and how it's affected the dynamics of their relationship. How do you think your first experience went shooting with another male and another couple?
I wasn't used to it because I'd never done it before, but it's something I also wanted to try, and it's grown our relationship, it's grown our trust, it's grown our safety
It's
and
something I've always
humility
wanted
within
to
each other.
try.
Before we shot, what was your kind of biggest apprehension? What was kind of something that scared you?
Is he bigger? Is he better?
Yep.
Is he stronger?
And what were your thoughts, Gabby, when you knew that obviously CJ hadn't shot with another male before? How did you feel about it?
Okay, this is fascinating to me. Okay, so you were excited to do this. It's something you wanted to try. And yet, you wanted to know the answer to those questions you just said. You wanted to know if he was bigger and better. If I were to ever entertain this kind of fucking thought, like, no, I just don't want to know. And if you're making fucking comparisons in your head, fuck you. Like, that's the conversations with my partner, right? Like, there is no comparison. We're all different in different ways. I know your body. And don't get me wrong, it's not due to insecurity. I'm very secure in size and ability and masculinity and all that shit. But if you're going to make a comparison, I don't want to fucking know. Because A, I'm going to assume you're lying to me. Or B, you're going to just fucking destroy my fucking self-esteem. Unnecessarily. So if I was secure enough to make this fucking happen, Lonely Island was wrong. It was extra gay in a three-way. Yeah. But they said couple. I would like to see the other woman involved. If there was another woman, may have been two men. I don't know. But I'm assuming we're not going to see that because I'm assuming she doesn't want to be on camera. But we'll see.
Honestly, I was probably a little bit nervous on what his reaction would be.
Yep.
Starting the scene, when we're actually in the scene doing the things that we're doing, how he's going to react.
Yep.
Like, and afterwards, how he's going to be feeling. That's what I was concerned about.
How did you think he'd react?
I mean, no guy wants to see their wife or girlfriend or their partner or whatever with another male.
Yep.
But afterwards, like, we went out for lunch.
I mean, that's not true. I mean, there's lots of cuckoldry out there. And we have Exhibit A sitting right next to you, lady. He said it himself. He's been wanting to try this. So just because he was insecure about it doesn't mean he wasn't willing to make some sacrifices.
We discussed it. We discussed the pros. There were barely any cons, and none of us were feeling bad.
Barely any cons. His entire masculinity. His entire masculinity.
So, yeah.
So I want to know, how have you guys handled this as a couple with the judgment from social media? Because what we do is very against the grain of what society says is normal. It's very public.
When I was just working solo and going overseas and working with other male creators, I feel like that's when I got a lot of hate.
Yep.
I think the opinions come from those that are curious and want to do it themselves. When people know that they want to delve into that, and if they want to experience stuff with other couples.
So I'm not going to do the informal poll. I'm not going to ask who all in chat wants to do this themselves, but I can assure you, lady, no. Look, I've been in degenerate situations. I've done the swinging thing before. And I've done the polyamory thing. I've been all up and down it. And look, I still do not identify as a monogamous man. But this whole, let's monetize it, let's put it everywhere, just no.
But something's holding them back, then they're going to have
let's
nothing
make
but
a lifestyle out of it.
And nothing but negative things to say because they can't do it themselves.
So it sounds like this has been a great experience for you, and I'm proud of you guys, and it's been such a pleasure getting to know you, and I look forward to working with you guys again.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We look forward to it.
We love working with you too.
So I think working with other people, it's enhanced the level of intimacy in our relationship, and we can have a lot of fun with it. It just works.
We're just both very understanding of each other, I think. What's a good word for it? You're the soft, I'm the hard.
I don't know about that.
Cut that out, don't say that.
He is the hard one most of the time, if you know what I mean. I love that we're always laughing, we're always joking. Nothing's ever too serious. The future for us is to expand our online adult business.
If you can enjoy what you do for a living, I think not many people get to do that. It's definitely something that we both love.
We'd like to have a little family of our own and get married.
Do not
and own a lot of dogs.
Do not redeem. No family. No. Do not do this to a child. No family for you. Look, I can't find the story now, but there was a story on Reddit where a chick was packing up her her deceased mom's house and found a sex toy. And long story short, she started using the sex toy found at her deceased mom's house. And then later found one of these clone a private part packages among her dad's belongings. Yeah, don't do it. Don't have kids, and don't be using the clone stuff. Don't be using the clone stuff. It's degenerate. It's so degenerate. All of this is so degenerate. Like, okay, your swinger's fine. Keep it private. Don't put it on the internet. Don't monetize it. If you want to fuck thousands of strange men, it's fine. Go ahead and do it. You want to be a porn star? Go ahead and do it. But why are you bringing love and a relationship and the idea of having children? You're mixing these two worlds that don't go together. Period. And you're cucking your husband. I mean, there's no easy way to say that. You are cucking your husband, and he likes it, and he's fetishizing it, and ultimately, at some point, you're going to view him as not masculine enough for you. All the tattoos and the bro behavior. I ain't got a problem with the guy. I'm concerned that he doesn't know what he's getting into. He sees the red flags and he's like, but it makes her happy and she makes me happy and I'm having fun. Yeah, those kind of ignoring your own red flags always lead to doom. So folks, we are now a little bit past the 3-hour mark, which means another week has passed for Mild's Culture Plate. Please click that thumbs up button. That like button does wonders for me. It definitely helps a little in the algorithm, even though, I'm always complaining I'm not getting enough viewers. I'm trying, we're steaming along, moving ahead and keeping things going, all at the free click of a button from y'all. You can be like Great Liquor and buy someone a membership or buy yourself a membership. If you're new here, please click that follow button, watch a second video, and share this show on another platform other than Rumble. And feel free to share it on Rumble too. If you've got a good Rumble creator account there of some sort, got some sort of Rumble account, there is a repost button. Should be underneath the video here. Feel free to do that as well. So like, share, subscribe. If you're over on YouTube, hit that bell for notifications for when I go live next, because as of right now, I am mixing up the schedule. Last night I said I'd have a schedule nailed down by tonight, but I literally have not gotten away from my job long enough to have the conversation. I came home and immediately started show prep for the show tonight and thought I'd have time to have that conversation. Short conversation, but yeah. So after having conversations with Still Not Banned here and Rusty Rivers here in the chat, it does have me leaning toward maybe a Saturday 2 weeks of the month and Friday 2 weeks of the month type of thing. But I'm going to have to ponder it for probably another 24 hours. So stay tuned to my X channel and all of the social media down in the description. Follow me on X, follow me on Facebook, follow me on all that stuff. All my links down in the description of the video, especially if you're on Rumble. If you're on X, there is no description under the video, so check my bio. Or I guess it'd be that way. Check my bio. Feel free. So again, once again, big thank you to everybody who showed up in the chat. cheers to all of y'all. And thank you. Let me give you the applause. Thank you to all of you who showed up in the chat. Thank you to Great Liquor for being the stream sponsor. And thank you to anyone out there who's watching or lurking or listening while you're working. Thank you to all y'all. And lastly, thank you to all y'all who are watching on demand later. Let me go find somebody to raid, and then I'll wrap this show up. View all, page 4. Every time I go straight to page 4 because that's when the less than 50 viewers starts. Who do I have? Well, here, before I go to page 4, I always forget to check my feed first. Let me see who's live among my friends. Let's do Third Railify again. We've been doing them on Fridays lately. Oh, we also got Cool Frog doing his open mic. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Cool Frog's open mic this week. I try to make it whenever I can, but like I said, there's some important conversations that my household needs to have, and so I don't know if I'm going to be able to show up over there. So yeah, I think I am going to raid Third Railify. Who's got less viewers? Oh, Cool Frog has less viewers. Let's raid Cool Frog. We're going to raid Cool Frog. We're going to do the old frog. Copy. Chat. Here we go. Singlet says he's doing a memorial thing tonight. Wait, what? Am I missing chats? Or did y'all just say a bunch of shit? I've been missing chats. Your chats have not been showing up in Rumble Studio for the longest time. Holy fuck. Other couple was dudes. Great Liquor says I'll pass. Chat must be dead. I could fix they, them. Still not banned here. Thanks for the long show. Singlet says let me sleep on it. Night, y'all. Okay. Yeah, it's been dead. Sorry, I didn't notice. I just thought you guys weren't chatting. My bad. Cheers to all of y'all. Y'all are such a great audience. Hell yeah, I love y'all. So that's why I'm going to send you to Cool Frog, someone I trust here. And until next time, folks, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. Have a great weekend. I'll see you folks Monday in some way, shape, or form. Take care, everybody. Good night.